What is going on, everyone? It's your boy Minato here, and we're back with some more Dokkan battle. Today I'm going to be going over the Omega Shenron stage of the Ultimate Red Zone, and I'm going to be talking about my personal top picks for the Red Zone stage right here. I do have a top 10 list right here, as the title suggests, but I do have a... I guess I can't even say a little bit. I do have a nice chunk of special units we'll kind of slightly dip into, but... yeah, this is the same thing I did for Broly, so feel free to check out the Broly video that's already out at this point, but let's hop right into it and break down what Omega Shenron actually does. So we start off with Int Sin Shenron and the Shadow Dragons. He can lower your defense and attack by 20%. He has a solid super attack damage, and his attack stat isn't really that high in normals, right? He can be attack lowered, sealed and stunned though, so there's a lot of ways to work around this Sin Shenron to allow yourself to really build up your units if you have to. However, keep in mind he does have a 40% chance to seal or lock you, and he always changes the orbs on the field, so those could be a little bit difficult to work around, right? But the fact that you could stun him and stuff like that is pretty good. I think if you stun him, he might not even be able to do this. Don't quote me on this for sure, but it is a pretty powerful thing to be able to stun him, so that's good. Next, we move on to the Sin Shenron, the SDR one, where it takes a huge leap in difficulty. Now he can no longer be sealed, stunned, or attack lowered. He can also start evading now, so it's a 5% chance to evade, but it can be annoying sometimes, right? His super attack damage jumps like ginormously up to basically 950k. His attack stat jumps over 100k as well, so you need at least around this amount of defense to tank him. And he has a good amount of health, so you really need to be careful with this guy. I think that the jump between this boss right here and this guy will catch people off guard, especially if you have your unit's defense lowered. It can be quite annoying. Then, of course, we'll go to the Countdown Omega Shenron here. He has the highest attack stat in the game for a boss at 450k. His super attack damage is 1.575 million, almost 1.6 million. So it's going to be very difficult for units to be able to like tank this. And he does at the end of every second turn. He has a lot of HP with good amount of damage reduction and can dodge. He can not be, attack lowered, seal and stuff like that, right? So there is some difficulty to that for sure. Especially if you cannot take the normals. You need to be really careful, but you can actually evade this guy, unlike Broly, which is why I would say, while this guy is difficult, Broly disabling evasion leaves a lot less options for you compared to this guy, which is why I feel like I do have more options here. So let's just take a look at the, extra units I brought up here. Ijo UI Goku, he has a 70% chance to dodge, so realistically, especially against the AoE, the final super attack at the end, he has a 70% chance to evade that, which is pretty good. He has the crits, and I think he'll be really good for the AGL phase as well, because he has this pretty strong active skill for the most part. Doesn't do the most damage ever, but it can definitely help you out. And in worst case scenario, he does have the revive skill, which, let's say you do have the revive up, even if he doesn't dodge the actual, countdown super attack, he can revive you, right, in some situations. So that could be pretty good. Not really, I would say, the best unit ever at this point anymore, right? But this guy is still very usable for this Omega fight. This unit, I think I just wanted to bring them up. They have type advantage a lot of the ways. I think you could potentially put them on the list. I just feel like some of the other units are just probably overall better. The real thing about this unit is that full turn heal, he has a 50% chance to evade as well. And that's pretty much it. Pretty self-sufficient as well with the rainbow key spheres if you're able to get them. I just feel like his stats alone just are not good enough, but the actual full heal is just so impressive, and the fact that he has type advantage most of the way is really good. It's just the SDR phase, he doesn't really have a way to defend against it besides this medium chance to evade, and you're probably going to get there before the turn 6, right? So if he doesn't dodge, he'll just take 200k normals. I've seen that plenty of times, right? So that's the only issue with this unit, unfortunately. Tech Gohan, he just stacks and guards, right? Even with type disadvantage, he will be able to guard and take no little damage. It's just that he doesn't really do damage back in return, so it's kind of a back and forth thing. When you get the super effective, he could definitely be pretty well, and I've seen him tank Omega Shenron super attack before, but I just think that, again, tech units obviously just won't be nearly as valuable here, unfortunately, because they kind of stall you out as well. Though I think this guy is definitely a good option to throw on the team for sure. He has definitely a top 10 candidate. He's that good, right? We have the Goku slash Gohan. They get stunned in the first phase. When you get Gohan out, Gohan is very, very powerful. He has the counter chance, which again is another very good thing. Again, I have to bring him up. He could possibly be top 10 as well, I feel like, right? I just think he barely didn't make the cut for me because Goku is just a little too weak, unfortunately, for this fight. Although he can evade here, just if he takes a super attack or eats an attack, he just takes way too much damage. It's just very, very sad. And I just think that with the evasion enabled, there is probably just better options here. But the great chance, 70% chance to counter with this new like super attack counter effect, right? The ferocious power. That does a lot of damage, right? So that's good for him. I think that he definitely is a pretty strong unit here. He can also tank Omega Shenron's super attack, which is a good thing. So, another good unit. I just think that in the first few phases, he's weak. So you can get caught by that. But once you get to final, the final form, you know, Perfect Cell right here, he can be quite good. And he has a rage mode as well, which is pretty nice. I just think that, you know, if he doesn't dodge, he can definitely take a lot of damage. But I think that he's definitely a very, very strong unit here for this Red Zone Omega. Tech Androids, again, they can nullify like every single super attack he does. From the STR Sin phase all the way. I think even the first phase they can nullify as well. No, they can't. Because I believe that Sin is Shenron. Yeah, they have weird breakdown, don't they? The LR Sin, yeah. Their super attack that they do is this one, which is obviously not a blast super attack, as you can see, so you can't nullify that, which can be a little bit of an issue, although you can seal. But they could, again, also get around the Omega Shenron super attack, which I feel like is a very important thing with these units here. And they could delay the enemy's attack, so they're a good unit here, but again, they're tech, so they kind of have a disadvantage with the double in phase. Physical Super Janemba, he would honestly be top 10 if he had a really good team. He's on movie bosses right now, but I think he just needs like an extra team, really. But he has a nullification, he has the guard for the STR phase, he builds up over time. Great link set, like this guy's good for this fight for sure. I think he's worth mentioning, but let's just get rid of these guys now. Let's go into the actual top 10, starting with, wait, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I gotta make sure I count correctly. Whirus. I think Whirus is actually better than those units I mentioned. Because, I mean, we know that Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is going to be on this list, right? Let's just be honest. But I think that double orb changing to physical is really powerful because in general, you're going to want to bring a lot of physical units, right? Because that's double in phase, right? So that's going to allow you to get a lot of extra healing on the team, I feel like. Along with this, he does get a high chance to evade. He supports basically Fusion or Realm of Gods category allies, which is a ton of units here. Then if you're especially able to get this off, which will be quite easy, he can, you know, tank normals pretty well. You really want him to dodge against the SDR phase though, and that's the thing. If he doesn't dodge the SDR phase, he can get caught. But I think just what he provides overall to the team is way too powerful. And if he is able to get the 7 orbs, I think against the in phases, this guy could look pretty good. So I think it's just too valuable of like a supporting role like that to not include in this top 10 list. Whenever I run against Omega Shenron and he's on the team, I bring Whirus. I think he's really, really powerful for this stage specifically. Like, I'm gonna again say, I'm not saying that the Whirus overall is better than like Cell or Goku or Gohan. It's just this stage specifically, I would feel more comfortable bringing Whirus, if that makes sense. Next we have Super Saiyan 2 Goku. Again, another physical unit. He can stun in the first phase, which is quite powerful. I've seen the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, you know, take not too much damage from the actual S-Tier Shenron phase as well. And with this critical hits, he can help you get past that phase, which I feel like is the phase. People might have even more problems with that phase than the actual final phase, because you're going to want to load up on these physical units, but he's STR, right? So having that great chance to crit is very helpful. He has, you know, again, stuns in there, additional super attacks in his passive. He's just overall a good unit, good link set. Like, he's on a billion of these 200% leader skill teams. Like, he's on like every relevant team right now. So I think he's just a very safe, very good option to bring. I think overall he just will be a better option than this guy, especially since he's also on so many of these teams, right? Next we have Raccoon and Goto. I think Raccoon and Goto, although they're on only that one team, I think that they will do better than the Goku, because not only are they able to tank against the fish, the final, like, you know, Mega Omega Shenron's Powerball super attack that is at the end. They do debuff for the first phase. They do seal and stun as well, right? And against the SDR phase, they'll just be way better than this guy, right? I just think that this Rakugoto is so busted. They're an insanely designed unit, and obviously you're gonna run them next to Ginyu, which is another really good unit for this phase, for this event specifically. So it's like, I don't see the issue. This guy definitely deserves to be on this top 10. Above him, I have the LR Gods, so I don't know if people are going to be like, what, why are they here, kind of, right? Because they're attacking it. But some people may understand. I think that, firstly, by the time you get to the STR phase, you likely will be able to transform them anyways. And then by the time, when you're in the int phase, you will have the guard for the first turn, which I think will be very important for them to get past that first phase. They'll be able to stack a little bit of defense. They have a very strong leader skill for this run as well. They can be super effective as well, which will be allowing them to get really past that. And then when you transform here, again, they have the disable enemy action. And then even for the final phase, although they definitely want to be able to tank double-digit normals for sure, even with the triple super attack, I doubt it. Again, they have the disable enemy action, and then they can get up to a very high chance to dodge. So they have the 30% chance to evade here. And then they get the 7% per key sphere obtained. So if you give them, like, say, 3 key spheres, they can get a 51% chance to dodge, like 3 rival key spheres, which, you know, can be very helpful. Again, I think dodge is a very, very useful fact here, I think, to use. They'll be super effective, so they can do a lot of damage. They have the crits here as well. And then, along with that, they have the active skill turn. And again, the active skill turn will be very important for finishing off that final phase. I think be able to get the guaranteed crits and like the 4 attacks that they could potentially do with the active skill turn, it's just too good. And then always guaranteeing a double super, getting 150% defense on super attack, it's just way too good, right? This unit says screw your type at disadvantage. I'm just that good, right? And again, their leader skill has a lot of units that can go around it. Like a lot of the units on this list are like physical units or good units here, so I think that they're just, they are probably a better option than these 3, just because they provide too much. They're just too strong, I think. Of course, another unit that I feel like is also just too strong as well as Ginyu. Ginyu will have type advantage in the second phase. He has the mid-turn heal, right? You could dodge the actual Omega Shenron super attack. I've seen Truth post a clip before of being able to tank the Omega Shenron super attack, I believe, with this guy. Like, he just straight up ate it. Which is so nasty, right? And he straight up, I remember seeing him straight up eat the Broly super attack as well. No, it was the Broly super attack that he straight up ate. But this guy could dodge that. If not, I think he has potential to be able to tank it as well, maybe. Right? He has really good partners. Like, again, this guy elevates this guy as well. And this guy elevates him, right? A lot of these things here are just the partnerships, right? You can get the Scouter for their first 3 phases, which is neat. And again, he stacks so fast. He has a really good team for this phase. I think he's obviously just deserves to be on here. This Ginyu is just absurd. I would say for this fight specifically, he's probably better than these guys. Because, again, while these guys can go a little beyond the type disadvantage, if you get caught, you can really take a lot of damage to them. But this guy is just all around more consistent, I feel like, for this fight. So, yeah. And I think the heal is just very good. Very, very good. Next, we have LR Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and Goku. I'm just going to talk about them both. I have Goku above Vegeta because he has type advantage in the second phase. If the second phase was like a physical enemy, Vegeta obviously would be above them. Because I think Vegeta is overall the more better unit overall, right? I just think that Goku having that type advantage is just super important for like the LR Super Saiyan 4s, for example. But they both basically do the same thing. They have just hit very hard, very, very strong defensively. They can actually counter here because, again, unlike the Broly fight, they have the counter chance in their back pocket, which that will be just a very, very powerful thing to get off. I've had these units counter, a lot of times. And in worst case scenario, you can potentially have them counter even the Mega Super Attack. I wouldn't recommend it because it's only a 30% chance, but that could be something that you can bank on if worst case scenario does happen and you need like Gogeta in the first slots, something like that, right? That's just really a thing. Of course, both their active skills are just very powerful, but it's another thing why Goku is above Vegeta here, because the STR phase is quite devastating. So Goku would just be able to allow you to get past that phase more. I think Goku probably has a better leader skill as well, because Vegeta's family leader skill is not that great right now. We have this new LR and JP, right? I think you could definitely beat the Omega Shenron fight with this leader skill, but I think Goku's team will be better. So that's why Goku have above Vegeta still for this fight specifically, but I think Vegeta is still like overall the better unit, right? Yeah, that's pretty much that. Next we go to Physical Future Gohan. I don't know if people will be mad at me for putting him above these guys, but this guy just like doesn't take damage, right? Even against the SDR phase, he just won't take damage. It's really because I guess I show two. I didn't want whatever, but this unit is just stupid. Straight up stupid. I'll talk more about them in a second, but they really elevate this guy. And even on the Goku sized Gohan team, this dude is quite powerful. He's like one of the only units in the game that can also tank the Omega Shenron super attack straight up without like having to worry about evasion or anything like that. Like he doesn't have to like, oh, potentially we could dodge this or something. He just straight up eats it, right? And it's just a 58% damage reduction with his defense abilities is just way too good. And like he also has a crit chance, which is not the biggest thing ever, but again, even just a medium chance crit can really help you get past that SDR phase and allow this guy to do damage. It'll also allow you to build full additional on him, 20 additional, right? And you get the double defense stacks. Like this guy is that good. Even against the SDR Sin phase, he could tank his super attacks. That's how good this unit is. He's just God. He's just invincible. He's like on a similar level. He's like the tech god Goku for this fight, right? If that makes sense. He's basically like the tech god Goku for this fight, I feel like. He's just that good. I just think that the fact that you could even slot one, like these guys can't be put in slot one like that. This guy can. And it's kind of crazy to think about it, but like when you're actually using him, he's like a must run for this fight. I think, you know, if he's on the team, like you must run him. Like you have to run him. You're kind of hurting yourself if you don't run him if you can, right? So yeah, and again, his link says very versatile for all these teams that he's on. He's on a good amount of these really good teams for this red zone fight. So yeah, that's why I have him at 3. It's really because of this unit though that really came out. He probably would have been lower than the Super Saiyan 4s before this unit, but now especially with this unit, he's above there. I mean, again, I think this is still the best unit in the game right now. They just do too much. The stacking defense right there. The slot 1 ability that they have. Now, the reason why they aren't like 100% up there is because they also can't guard in slot 3 when you get to the end of the phase. Which Omega always supers in the final slot, right? But there's a lot of units who work around that in the final slot. While there's not really too many units that can tank 450k normals in slot 1 like that, right? Because again, this Omega, if you attack, like today I did a run, literally, we attacked me in the first slot like 5 times with 450k defense. Like, Physical Gohan is a unit that could take that. This unit is a unit that could take that. Maybe this guy, maybe even not, you know, if you don't get the stacks of them and much. These guys can't do that, right? But, you know, this guy is a unit that can do that, and he wants to be in slot 1. And then the permanent guard, the stacking is still good. And even then, if you get to the final fight right here, you could buff everyone's defense even more, which will allow you to take those normals a lot easier from Omega Shenron, which will be a huge thing. Very strong link set. Like, his leader skill again is just stupid. That's really all I have to say. I think like half of it is because of this leader skill. Like, that's how good this leader skill is. Like, again, global players, you might not be aware, but this leader skill is just super good. So if you ever have troubles with Omega in the future, you can definitely go for this guy. And I think, you know, like, look at all these, like how many units are on this list that fit under this leader skill? Yeah, like basically like 6 of the 10 units are on this leader skill. And then a lot of the actual like honorable mentions I brought up are also on this team. Like, it's dumb. You could just build a full defensive wall team and really get by it. I'm gonna say that I do think that this unit is still probably the best unit for Omega Shenron. I think they probably bringing double of them will be more impactful for Omega Shenron than this unit, because they could actually be in slot 1 and counter that Omega Shenron super attack. They could probably also eat it as well, but the fact that they can counter and just do damage back is so huge. You could get away with stacking them a little more in the first phase for sure, and by the time you get to the second phase, you could use this and just destroy Omega, right? I've Sin Shenron. I've had a lot of runs where I really got past the Sin Shenron phase because I got this off. Then he got like a triple super crit, guaranteed crits with this guy, and then he disables the action. And you know, unlike the AoE Broly phase, for example, this guy could actually counter. So even if he does get super attacked, he still has the 50% chance to counter. He'll be doing pretty well against normal attacks as well, even against that S-Tier Sin, because he has this damage reduction he can get. He'll do still good damage because he'll be super effective, right? This guy, and then he just has type advantage against the first and the third phase, right? He'll do way more damage in this unit while being able to tank on similar levels because type advantage and with the damage reduction. I just think that overall, this guy is probably more powerful than this unit for the Omega fight specifically, right? And that's really it. I think that, you know, let me know what you guys think. Maybe some people think that this guy is better than him still, right? But I think that what he will provide, even especially with like the healing, like say you're running Weirdest, this unit feeds him orbs and he heals like a ton, right? That's really it. I think this guy is, I don't have to say anymore. I just kind of covered everything he does, right? Everything he does is handmade for this Omega fight. He is handmade to beat the Omega fight, just like the LR gods are handmade to beat the Broly fight, right? So that's the thing. But let me know what you guys think about the list. If there's anything you would change. I think again, there's a lot of leeway between these units, and you can kind of shift them however you kind of please. They're all definitely top 10 units, even if you think that some of the honorable mentions are on here. I would like to hear what you guys' thoughts are, but thank you all for watching. Good luck on your Omega Shenron runs, global players, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.